Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Welcome back, everybody. Time again for another Oh Yeah Trek Watch. We are talking about Strange New Worlds, the brand new Star Trek series. It's episode 3, a little thing I like to call drama.
Pajamas.
Right.
That rhymes.
That rhymed. Yeah, that was cool.
There you go. John
Yeah.
Santos, Franco, Mitch. We're all here. We all have opinions. In general, I liked it. But again, I mean, I can't help it. I'm going to take my glasses off because I see the reflection there. As always, I got continuity issues and also, but that said, they're onto something. But I'll talk about it later. But again, I liked it enough. I got my nitpicks, and that does kind of take me out when the nitpicks pop up. But there you go. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Franco.
I can't wait for the new Top Gun movie to come out. But no,
Yeah.
Really that bad?
No. I actually like this episode. Yeah, there were some nitpicky things, but overall, I think they're continuing on their trek to being the best Trek right now. So I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think did we point it out, or did one of the YouTubes I watched? I do think it is Stockholm syndrome in terms of being subjected to 5.5 years of lousy Trek. That we're like, the fact that it doesn't suck. It's like I really like it, And again, I do like it. I really do like it.
Yeah.
And this was another like the basic plot.
Yep.
Okay, outbreak. That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
But, like.
All right.
I mean,
it was a good episode. It was like one that a generic episode. It almost, from the title, I already kind of knew what was going to happen as soon as you didn't see
or whatever.
Yeah,
it's called.
You see the colonists. You're like, hey, wait a minute. I bet those people are the colonists that are floating around like ghosts. It reminded me of, for some reason, the Power Records Star Trek albums.
Really? Hilarious.
The title and the action with it, and it was like an old throwback 60s. Like I could see Spectre of the Gun. It sounded like a title from the old original show.
That's funny.
And when he says Captain, there's two things it could be. One, they were taken away, or two, those were the colonists. And you can almost hear the music with the organ, like a radio show, like boom, boom, boom. That's the big shocker. And I was like, yeah, it's a good, solid B storyline. There's nothing you can screw up. But before you nitpick, are you telling me that Dr. Bazinga? What's it?
Bazinga. Dr. Bazinga. I think for our purposes from now on, it's Dr. Bazinga. There we go. I like our nicknames for everybody. Yeah.
What's his real name? Dr. Labanga?
Mabenga.
Mabenga. Okay, no.
Or you go Mbenga. But
Mbenga. Okay, Mbenga. Yeah,
exactly.
Carson. Okay. So he's the one that thought of keeping someone alive in a transporter. No one ever thought of that in the history of Star Trek. Like, hey, we'll induce a medical-induced coma. We'll just medically induce them into a transporter buffer. That way we can keep them there. That was the only thing that bugged me. I'm like, no one.
Well, yeah, he probably got the idea, he probably went Bazinga because he got the idea.
And then he goes, I bet Scotty will use this years from now.
Yeah, Franklin.
Right, yeah, except
I don't know if you know about this, but apparently in our past, this was done many times. Discovery did it too, briefly, in a plot point when they were going through the barrier just this past season, and that was Zora put everybody in stasis.
Right, you're right. Yeah,
except for me. Yeah, except for me, I'll stay with you, Zora.
Yeah.
Sure you will.
So it was wouldn't it have been something? Well, that she couldn't have got it from him because that didn't happen yet. She could have said, "Oh, I knew a doctor who thought of this already." You know,
It bummed me out too, man, because it really did. I think it minimizes Scotty's genius, and it's like,
it does.
and also, I'm sorry again because trauma drama. I
Yeah.
everything, every episode in New Trek, and by the way, that is my new name for all this.
New
New
Trek.
Trek, and Picard is in there as well. And I don't care if people think that's a pejorative. I
Yeah.
don't care.
It
I'm
was
sorry.
unnecessary. Say it. You didn't
Well,
need it.
well, but also maybe it's a good way to distinguish. All right, we're talking about classic Trek, TOS. We're talking about next generation. You know, Berman Trek covers next gen through Enterprise. This is new Trek. Sorry, and it's funny
No.
because Rob Burnett was saying that current Star Trek is like the new Coke of
No, so
sci-fi.
so the reason why it bothered me is because he's a doctor and do no harm and do this stuff, and he was lying to everybody. He was going to jeopardize the entire crew of the ship from some deadly virus that was infecting them and causing God knows what, and they're getting burnt out just to save us. Neither the many out, they need a few, but before that, it contradicts Star Trek V, which doesn't really exist in canon. But why didn't Dr. McCoy put his dad in a buffer and then wait till they find a cure? They found a cure 2 days after I cremated him. Ah! I was like, oh no.
But that was one thing. And by the way, I don't know anyone who doesn't consider Star Trek V canon. That's the first time I've ever heard anybody.
No,
say
it's not canon.
Mitch doesn't.
Really? Why?
No, Roddenberry said it wasn't canon. He
was dead by then, buddy.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. No, wait a minute. No, you're right. No, he died around Kittimer. You're right.
Yeah, he was still around, and he said that did not count.
Really?
Yes.
I would like to seriously. Please send me proof of that.
I will.
You don't have to do it tonight.
If we're going by those rules, can we take out all of Discovery?
No.
Again, that's why it's New Trek.
What's
and
the word
Picard
I'm
in there
looking
too.
for? I can't think. It begins with an A. It means like it's a story, but it's not. No. Apocrypha. That's what I remember. Roddenberry, after it came out, he said about Shatner's Trek, it wasn't canon.
Oh, that's
his stuff.
Wow. That's a hell of a slap in the face to Shatner.
Yeah. I always remember. I was like, "Fuck that guy." Yeah. But anyway.
Oh wait. Wait, it says Roddenberry died because of Star Trek V. I can't believe
it was
the
fan dance. He goes, "I used to bang that."
I was gonna rebut you.
What's it? Bazinga.
Dr. Bazinga. I was gonna Bazinga. I was gonna rebut you.
My fan dance.
He did say at the end of the episode, he goes, I'm not going to jeopardize the one person, even if it is my daughter, for the entire crew. He learns his lesson. Characters can grow. Characters can make mistakes, so I'm okay with that. But
you're okay with
the daughter there.
Man, you have softened.
No, I have not said it. I have not.
How many people on that ship?
Put an episode of Orville on, or put an episode of Discovery on, and I'll show you how much
it's coming in the next week, so you know we're going to be talking about it.
Buddy. How many people on that show, on that ship, are keeping secrets from each other? It's like, I'm really an Allurian, and I got to go look that up because I thought Allurians were the people that Whoopi Goldberg was, and I was like getting confused. I'm like,
what's the name of Whoopi's race again? And by all means, folks in the chat, isn't it
Allurians?
Didn't they have different what you call it?
And so the other guy,
colonies.
Yeah, no, she said that, and I'm okay with that. And I'm okay with her being Allurian. However, again, Rob Burnett, man, that guy. You think I know my Star Trek?
Yeah,
I am a novice to chess master.
What did he say?
Three-dimensional chess master Rob Burnett. Una's backstory, number one's backstory, is lifted from Vulcan's Glory, which is a fantastic novel of Star Trek. And it should be considered canon. Now it is, that part is canon, but it was written by DC Fontana herself, one of the cornerstone writers of original Trek, all the way to modern. God bless the woman; she was amazing.
Wait, it was written about number one. It was written about her.
Well, Vulcan's Glory. There's a whole big thing about Pike's, Spock's time with Pike's Enterprise and everything, and they just identify Una as an Allurian and that she's genetically enhanced. And it's like, so that's really interesting, but they gave her no story credit, and that's really lousy. really
she's
lousy and kind of
dead.
That I agree
inexcusable.
with. Yeah.
Frankly,
No, she's
I think
dead, and they didn't have to pay anybody.
well, and that's fine, but just acknowledge where it came from. And that was, and again, forgive me, everybody, but Rick Berman's Trek, they had that open script policy, and a lot of times the staff writers would finish a story, but it came from a fan pitch or whatever. And we've discussed it before. They didn't want Nick Locarno to be part of Voyager because they would have had to pay the
Yep.
writer of the First Duty, the Wesley Cadet story, and Nick's Robert Duncan McNeil played both parts, and it's like, you got to pay him for the next 7 seasons.
We don't want to
and
do
everything.
that. Yeah.
And right, so I get that, but truly, again, like you said, she passed away, and good Lord, hey, we're all about inclusion, and aren't we amazing? And let's beat our chest for our strong female characters. Well, here's a strong, real person that you kind of blew off, and shame on you. Shame on you.
Oh, because they made her like superior to the normal.
No. I'm saying DC Fontana.
Oh, I thought you meant the character.
You're not you're not crediting her, and she's a real person.
Like,
that's great. You're really great about strong female characters. How about an actual strong real person that was really responsible for? I mean, she wrote Yesteryear. She wrote that great animated episode.
Yeah, with the big
Spock
cat
Shelter,
thing,
which is a hell of a lot better than the bullshit backstory we have in New Trek. So anyway,
no, you were just talking about when Star Trek Next Generation came out. I remember somebody reviewed it, and they said how unique of a character creation was Mr. Spock that they had to split him up into 3 characters on Next Generation. They made Data, Worf, and I can't remember who the other one was. They said, oh my God, they took that one Spock character and they had to break him up into 3 people because that one character had all those bits of it. And now on Strange New World or whatever, you got number 1 is an alien thing off to her side. Spock is already there. You really don't need to have another one. You got him. He should be your main alien. And then there's another character.
Change him and give him emotions.
Well, La'an is treated like another.
That's
and,
it.
And,
yeah.
And Langley is making a great point, and I do want to get to that because they're introducing a new debate. Well, we may as well talk about it now. What the hell? Langley, let me post your little.
Are you talking about the android guy?
No. Hold on. Langley said, I appreciate the number 1 reveal, especially commenting on her being one of the good ones, a very real thing that minorities have endured. Okay, right. Let's talk about this because this is, at the same time, I get it, but I also, because they're really tying this all to eugenics.
Yeah.
And obviously La'an is, hey, my here, I'm not going to go for the easy one. My great grandfather was Stalin. And I'm Laura Stalin, and everybody picks on me because of my last name. I could have gone for the obvious one, but I'm not
Vic
going
Hitler.
to.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Exactly, I was going to say Vic Hitler, but it's
From
like, but you're talking about Hitler, so that's triggering. Well, anyway, my point is, I believe, and you guys tell me what you think, but when Khan was introduced in the original series, and the subject of eugenics. First of all, we were doing eugenics in the 30s. And also, that is kind of what the whole Nazi thing was partially about in terms of a superior race. And that's what they were leaning into. Yeah. And now, again, I truly do appreciate that New Trek is like, yeah, but if you really take it to this, broader sense of everybody who's ever had genetic enhancement performed on them, you're being, racist or whatever to those people, whatever the proper equivalent is. I get that. What I would ask is, by all means, if this wants to be a big plot point that they're going to kick down the road, because obviously Pike's like, hey, I'm cool with you. And God forbid if Starfleet ever did get crappy about it, I'm ready. Let them come after me or whatever. I don't mind the debate being held. I'm not hearing a debate. What I'm hearing is it's wrong. It's, separatism, whatever, because it's not, I guess it's an analogy to racism, and I do get that. But I also get what the original intent of Khan was. And I would say, not that I agree with this, but the fact that we've already got Deep Space Nine 100 years in the future where Bashir is still having this issue, again, I think you're messing with continuity. by all means bring it up, and you could even be like, well, the Federation's going to be a bunch of hard asses, and they're wrong, but have the balls to have the debate and point out the eugenics side. Because Spock, again, every week I find myself rewatching original episodes that obviously they're thinking about when they're making these news stories. And in Space Seed, it's like, well, did his eugenics, what Khan and his people did to them, did it make them evil and stuff? And I forget Spock's direct quote, but essentially it's, kind of absolute power corrupts absolutely. And it's like,
goes, we were trying to bring the world order. And they were like, ooh.
Yes.
What's all about? Yeah.
Yeah. But again,
he wasn't a bad guy.
But I do appreciate the argument. Yeah. Well, yes. No. Oh, I think
every
that's interesting, Mitch. I appreciate
thinks they're the hero of their own story.
That's true.
He was a bad guy.
That is true. Yeah. That is absolutely true. Yeah. But again, I just would like to see the debate happen. And I because that's what we used to get from Trek. Trek used to say, here's both sides, think for yourself. New Trek is think this way. And truly, 90% of the time I am with New Trek on their basic politics. What I don't appreciate is you're kind of doing the homework for everybody. Why don't you let people think? And I just think it's challenging. Just like Riker in Measure of a Man. You don't want, he doesn't want to prosecute against Data. He's forced to. He's got to make his argument. Or Court Martial. I just saw that one within the last month again. I love that. Samuel Cogley is representing me. Ben Finney. I wouldn't have killed Ben Finney. But anyway, so that's my big pet peeve about the eugenics thing. What do you guys think of the eugenics thing they brought up?
Well, I think it's
what?
I think it could be some interesting stories down the line. But it depends, like you said, what they do, how they handle the argument. But I think they're listening to what's happened over the last couple of years in terms of Discovery and what a crap fest that's been for fans and everything. And they're doing one and done self-contained episodes per se, but with leading threads into future stories, which I'm okay with. With
sure.
Bazinga and his daughter and the backstory of these guys, these crew members, number one, and I forgot the
Lon or
I forget. I'm sorry.
The one with the shaved head. That's Lon.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
The security.
The blind Andorian.
No.
The woman that is also a Lurian, that is the great granddaughter of Khan.
Yeah.
Vic Hitler, if you will.
Yeah. So, it remains to be seen what happens there and some of the storylines, because they're setting it up. So
go ahead. I'm sorry, Francis.
No, I was just going to say it'd be interesting, but I do want to bring up the point that yet again, a third episode in is again other crew members. Stories and backstories, which
100%, man, and yes, and absolutely. Well, that's the thing. It's interesting. They gave agency to other characters on the first season of Discovery, but it was Lorca, and Lorca's a bad guy, or it was Michelle Yeoh, and it was it was Michelle Yeoh up until obviously she died in part 2 of the first season.
Spoiler.
But like you got Culver, you got Stamets, okay, fine, but again, it's the bridge. But thank God they do understand finally, it seems, that the bridge crew is important. So no, I am with you on that. I don't mind the individual stories. What I don't like is 12-step Star Trek.
Yeah.
Okay, bare your soul, and what demons are you holding? It's like, again, they're in space where anything can happen. Please, do your job. I mean, it's so funny. Una even says, number one even says when Spock and Pike are stuck on the planet, hey, all right, I'm in charge. We'll get through this. Just do your job. Yeah, that's fine. Also, I listen, Nurse Chapel is adorable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't need her to keep saying, I'm really good at my job. It's like, do your job. Just do it. It's fine.
No, I don't see anything wrong with that. I do that at my job every day, day in, day out. I tell everybody how good I am at my job. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is the captain of the ship was on that planet with an ion storm attacking, they didn't seem that worried about it. I was like, how fucked up is he going to get from this thing? I did like the little thing they dropped up. You wouldn't want to beam somebody up during an ion storm. Who knows what could happen? I go, oh, they're going to come by with the little beards and the evil mirror
universe
thing
time
already. I was like, wow,
Dun,
that
dun,
was fast.
dun.
They're dropping hints to other shows that we'll see.
You
years
know,
from now.
maybe I am a jerk because, like,
Oh, yeah.
go back to I know that goes without saying, but I go back to Enterprise and that two-parter from the fourth season with their version of the Mirror Universe, and I liked it because they still tied it to the Tholian web, and
Mhm.
it was okay, fine. Wow, a TOS era starship has made it to Enterprise's era, and that was cool. I wasn't crazy about the way Discovery, certainly more so in the second time that they revisited the Mirror Universe with with the Guardian Forever, otherwise known as Carl.
Yeah.
But anyway, here I want to acknowledge some really good comments we've got. Um, I where is it? It's Langley. Langley said something about yes. I recently heard Doug Drexler, former production designer of Trek, say in his head canon, Trek since Enterprise is different because of the temporal Cold War shenanigans.
Mhm.
It goes a long way for me. If somebody on that show would make a reference or notice something, I'm so for that. That's fine, and that's a great way to explain the ability to kind of manipulate things a bit. I'm okay, but yeah, but again, I'm sorry until they either say, all right, look, this is what we're doing. Just deal with it. They're just always coy about it. Even the new showrunner for either Strange New Worlds or no, it was definitely the
Hmm.
co showrunner with Goldsmith, whatever. I always do that wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Gold.
But here the Weiss says good writing. Let the audience review what you've told and come to the same conclusion. Current writers believe they need to shove it down your throat in a righteous way. Yeah, man. Yeah,
Mhm.
I agree. But yeah, and I mean, as far as Vic Hitler, Baby Con, can we call her Baby Con? Like
Baby Con, yeah.
yeah.
Call her Pecan.
Show Pecan. Exactly. So her backstory is going to be a real conspiracy. It's like, I mean, oh God, you could do a million con things. Jesus.
I
I find it. Yeah, it's quite the conundrum, isn't it? To
Mhm.
ponder.
To
But
be
anyway,
continued.
to be
Same Trek channel. Yeah.
We are absolutely to be continued, and it's funny. Even I keep pointing them up because I really love their pre-produced YouTubes. The podcast guys are convinced a Montalban Khan show. By the way, let's call him Montalban.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah.
Khan Montalban. That it's finally coming. And I see some really interesting possibilities to even do a dual track story of City Alpha 5. Say it, Franco.
This isn't City Alpha 5.
Is he frozen?
No, he's there. He's just
Set the
ignoring
Alpha
you.
5.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm freezing up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you do
No,
that
freezing up.
track, but go back to the eugenics wars and show Khan in action. I don't like that it seems like they're kicking the eugenics wars based on Pike's speech after the 90s. I like it in the 90s because I don't know if you guys ever read I'm assuming you're not. Greg Cox, one of the Star Trek novelists, did a great 3-novel story about it, kind of explaining how Khan could have had control of a third of the planet, and this World War III was kind of a covert Cold War World War III, and also it involved Gary Seven and Roberta Lincoln, and it's a really good story because I mean, from a contextual standpoint, sure, it would make sense to throw them in the story and everything. So that would be cool. As opposed, and I have no idea because again, we had that stupid Easter egg at the end of episode 10 of Picard season 2.
Oh,
where Granddaddy Soon is looking at Project Khan. So maybe maybe they aren't just little bullshit like maybe they are leading to something.
Where's Colonel Green fit into all this? Remember, Colonel Green was the guy that also took over. He had that jumpsuit with the little thing on it. He was in that.
But isn't he? Yeah, but he was in Enterprise. So it's I think that's.
Oh, he was. I don't remember.
Yeah, he's in the last 2-part 4th season episode with Peter Weller.
Oh, I
So,
remember
but
that,
yeah,
but not that part of it. But yeah,
I agree with the Wees. Current writers, and as always, good
Storm of the
Porkins.
Capitol.
Yeah, Avatar.
Just
But yeah,
leave it
current writers will
alone.
have Khan, Storm in the Capitol, and Ballot Harvesting. Just leave it alone. Well, I don't. Again, I think you could still explore a lot of issues today if you keep the eugenics war in the 90s. And again, also, don't. I mean, this is why I keep saying it's like setting things in Pike's era
Mm.
almost feels like they're trying to softly whitewash what they see as the sins of the original
There's
series.
a lot of other things that they could talk about that they don't talk. Remember when they go to Talos 4 and they think they found the crew of was it SS Beagle or something like
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
And he goes and he's talking. The younger ensign is talking to the old professor. He's like, "Oh yeah, the time barrier's been broken." And I always thought that was something like, what was that like for the first ship? Was it Doc Brown in a DeLorean? But the first spaceship that goes back in time, not only goes back in time, but actually comes back to tell people how they did it, the slingshot around the sun or whatever it was. I'm like, that's kind of a cool story because then you have to come up with the whole directive about don't interfere with time and I mean, don't step on the butterflies because they do that all the time.
Sure.
Not to be a pun, but I
Well,
mean, that's a
but
storyline they never really touch on.
well, again, that's taking. Although they did keep that line in the
And
menagerie as well. I always took that to mean warp speed is tied to the time rather than the slingshot. Just because, hear me out. Just because they seem to discover that possibility when they did the Tomorrow is Yesterday episode.
yeah.
That's when they discovered it as far as really trying to time travel because they didn't even explain how the Enterprise got back in the 60s and was with Joanne Worley's husband, the actor that plays Captain Christopher, the
Oh, that's
fighter
who he
pilot.
was? He was
Yeah, he
married to
was. Yeah,
Joanne Worley?
yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
he's a
no,
big
it did
big
start
character actor. He's in a lot of stuff, but yeah, he
it
was
did
married to
started
Joanne
off
Worley.
with them in the 60s. Remember
Right,
that? And I think
right.
there's a
But
good
I'm saying
voiceover.
I don't know.
We
I
hit an
don't remember.
ion storm and the Enterprise has been sent back
It's
300
it's
years.
always an
That's
ion
all it
storm.
was. It was always just
How
and
come
not
we
only
got
that, they were back on the Earth. I'm like, why would they be on Earth? Why wouldn't they be back in time on a Klingon planet or another planet? Why is it always because the sets were built? But whatever.
no? It's yeah. I loved when they would be in the 60s, and again, they did it on purpose
Mm,
for Assignment Earth, last
right.
episode of season 2.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was, and obviously that was to set up Gary Seven and everything. But yeah, it's like no, they did it on purpose. So yeah, you're right. I don't know when, and actually, I would assume if there were ever to be a series between Next Generation era and the original series. By the way, that'd be a great area to
Yeah,
really
you
go
could do
back
that
to,
Enterprise C. You could have
among
Bozeman
other
with
things. Sure,
Kelsey
absolutely,
Grammer.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Hire Kelsey Grammer back, and he
And
can be
Captain
in.
Ramirez.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, my point was that you could find out when the temporal prime directives came in effect, and that Kirk's abuse of time travel
Oh
is
yeah.
one of the. I mean, they say it in the triple
On Deep
episode.
Space. Yeah. On Deep
Yeah,
Space
which
Nine.
is
They go,
hilarious.
you broke time laws about 15 times. They're like, yeah, well, whatever.
I agree with
Kirk,
Langley.
he gets away with stuff.
Yeah.
I agree with Langley. I never needed them to retcon the past to fit our world. It's not our universe, so I don't need explanations. I love the eugenics war, and I agree with you, man. He loves the fact that the eugenics
Oh,
war.
I had a buddy ask me, remember last week when they had the story about the comet about to hit the planet and they
Yeah.
deflected it?
Yeah.
And they mentioned the prime directive. They're like, hey, we
Right.
got this
Well,
thing called
because
the prime
maybe this.
directive.
Right.
And they said, well, how did you know this wasn't part of the prophecy that they were going to move the thing and all that?
Right.
And I was telling my buddy about it who hates all Star Trek after the movies. And I said, you should watch this. This one's good. And he goes, he always thought the prime directive didn't happen, or when they came about, like you couldn't interfere in the civilization. Like you couldn't give guns to one side and help them win a war against
Right. Private little war. Yeah.
Right. And he said, but if they were going to deflect this comet, weren't they already interfering with stuff? I said, well, that was the whole premise of that week's episode. They were like, oh, you can't save these people. And he goes, we're not going to let these people die or something like that. But I go, I don't think any of the Treks ever went there. Because what if they went to a planet that had a virus and Dr. McCoy had the cure for it? If he beamed down there and cured everybody from the virus, was he violating the prime directive because they had the science to do it? I'm like, I don't think they ever got into any of that nonsense.
Well,
Did they?
and that's interesting because we need to go back to that first season episode, Miri, where that's essentially what they do.
Yeah.
I
They
think
cure
they fix
everything.
those. I think they fix those kids. Let's
Yeah.
fix them. Well, let me ask you. All right, even a more simpler one, because again, Strange New Worlds is address this idea of, hey, the Federation or Starfleet, whatever it is being biggity about people that have had genetic enhancements. Didn't you do that in the first episode when you genetically changed all Pike and Spock and Una or whoever went down to rescue Una? I guess it was La'an to make them look like aliens. Aren't you
Oh
modifying their
yeah,
genetics?
That was
No.
temporary, and
That was
the
in
makeup
disguise.
effects were cool.
I understand exactly. Yeah, but no, and believe me, I was ready for it's temporary. It's like, okay, sure.
It's
And
temporary,
again,
and the makeup effects were really cool.
yeah, it was great to see Spock's ears go from round to pointy. Exactly. Not really.
Well,
But anyway, wait a minute, Mitch. Let me make my point. And then, by all means, this is why, for decades on other Trek prior to this era, it was always genetic. It was always cosmetic makeup.
mm-hmm.
And I just, again, it's like you've set up your own. Why again?
Paradox,
so why is it
paradigm.
okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, please, Mitch, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say the Vulcans were doing it we showed Picard or the FBI guy where they were doing something in the background and the little kid stumbled across the Vulcans and they weren't even disguising themselves. Remember that episode on Picard?
Yeah.
where
I
he goes,
know, but
"Oh,
what
yeah."
does that have to do
So
with
they-
genetic
well, I'm gonna say
modification?
maybe they figured it out because hey, the Vulcans fucked up by not trying to disguise themselves. So the Federation says if you beam down to a planet, you make sure you put the forehead on it and you don't want to screw everything up, so you have to blend in so they
All
don't
right,
know.
I'm kicking you out of the writers' room because no. I
Come
don't think
on, the Vulcans are so smart.
All
Why
the
did they
Vulcans
do
need
it?
is a bandana.
Yeah,
That's all they need.
Exactly.
Just give me a bandana. The head was caught in a rice picker.
On the Ready Room, they were talking about sitting on the edge of forever, and they're like, "What kind of hat did Spock wear?" And the choices were like a baseball hat, something else, and the correct answer was a beanie. And I'm like, he's not wearing a
No.
beanie. It's almost like a Mike Nesmith knit
It's
cap
called-
without a little pom-pom on the
It's
top.
called a Watchman cap, actually.
Right.
It's from the
Yes.
military because the
Yes.
guys that would wear the pea coat on the boat would be cold, and it
Beanie.
was it was a Watchman's cap. That's where it comes from.
Shut up, Wesley. My God, a beanie. I'm like,
No, a beanie is what Charles Winchester had that time when he wanted the hat and his
with the
toboggan
propeller
hat.
and
With the
everything.
propeller,
Yeah, you need a propeller. Yeah.
Or I'll even give him, like, if you're in a fraternity and it's almost like a yarmulke or whatever. But it's got your Greek letters on it.
I
That's
got
not
my
a
water
yarmulke.
buffalo hat. I got to put on. I have that.
Haven't
here
you seen
somewhere.
that? My mom, God bless her, in the 60s had a big bouffant
Oh yeah,
either
like Marge
hairdo
Simpson. Yeah.
or wig. And I always say, yeah, she used to be one of the water buffaloes. And I would then get a group shot of the water buffalo meeting from the Flintstones. And I'm like, yeah, my mom's in the back row. You can't see her or anything. But here's a picture of her.
I'll wear it next week.
I can't believe you have a real one. That's fantastic.
I do. I wear it to storm the
So I don't know, man.
the other
And-
conventions.
yeah, I
don't know. They're playing fast and loose with this shit, you know.
we're two species on the planet. Dr. Phlox found the cure, didn't give it to him due to Phlox finding out the other species was becoming more down. Oh, yes, that's a great episode. I know that episode. Yeah, that's a really cool episode. Yeah, because the elite race was dying out, and the subjugated race was actually showing that if they were given the opportunity, were as smart as the elite race.
Yeah.
And they had antibodies that were stronger than the race that was dying out. So
so it's like natural selection. They're like, hey, that's just
and also a good analogy for immigration too. And that's, again, yeah, you're right, man. That happened during Enterprise, and it's a great thing. So yeah, and again, I didn't mind the way that they played with eugenics during the Enterprise era, because again, it's more examples of why this isn't a good idea. And again, I don't mind that argument being brought up of, hey man, you're being discriminatory to people that are, genetically enhanced and stuff. That is a fine debate. Do not reach a conclusion that screws with what we had in Deep Space Nine. Please, that's all I ask. And I still think you can tell a good story without having a yes, but it's got to be this way, and whatever. Because again, we love this stuff because we've been playing with this history, and it got so deep over 50 plus years through the books, through the comics, through everything else, through people thinking but still staying within the lines.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think because people keep cranking out new books that have great stories and stuff. I don't think it's impossible to write Trek in within and color within the lines. And again, New Trek just doesn't give a shit.
Do you think when they talk to Captain Pike at the end and she says, "Oh, I have to be resigned and you have to report me to the Federation because I'm
Starfleet or
illegal,"
whatever.
and he's like, "That ain't gonna happen," and he throws it
he's
away.
like, you're the best first officer I ever had.
Right. And then we find out about the Doctor and his daughter, and they're gonna keep that hush hush too, and just make a little portable generator to keep her alive. I go, that whole ship is a bunch of people like, hey, we're gonna make up our own rules and fuck the rules.
Well,
hey, it's fine. I enjoy it, but I'm kind of like, when does this whole code of honor and Starfleet and doing the right thing do? Because no wonder Spock kidnaps Pike years later. Learned it from when he was on the ship. Everybody did what they wanted to. Fuck the rules.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
I don't know. I just thought it was shocking. I was like, wow, that's the captain. You lead by example. And he's like, fuck it. I'm just gonna keep it on. He's
gonna die in 10 years. He doesn't care.
Well, I know. He said that. He's like, when I saw what was gonna happen to me, I realized, fuck it.
Yeah.
As Stuart says, if Una was the other species, wouldn't it be obvious to Bazinga and Chapel through standard scans? Yeah, it would. And also, I didn't buy the transporter stuff in terms of, we got Una, we didn't get Spock and Pike, but Hemmings or whatever his name is,
Hammer.
Hammer's, addiction to the light. Hey, I just beamed up this chunk of the planet of the core, and it'll radiate me. And it's like, again, you guys overcomplicate shit. It's like that is so you should have been able to find a different way. Don't use the transporter. Because you've already said the transporter isn't working. So these but it's working for this, but it's not working for that. It's like, that's when the muggles, the ordinary people, are like, well, I thought the transporter was broken. How come they can do that, Janet? I don't understand. So there's your average person watching Star Trek for the first time going,
well, Mayberry RFD watches Star Trek.
Exactly. Hey, guess what? I don't believe in this continuity. It bends to the right.
I'm sorry, but I keep going in and out with my my internet, so I keep freezing. But they didn't find out about Una until her light fetish came to being. So that's when they found out that she was.
And that was really complicated. And it's like, look, either she can and has the antibodies and have that fix the problem. Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, I still don't understand exactly how she was able to cure. Well, she claimed that she cured La'an. I'm assuming La'an's antibodies. Well, no, because the colony...
No, it was from her. It was like whatever happened with the Warp Core. Yeah, she was in the vicinity.
She had a booster shot.
I meant to do a screen cap of when Una was carrying Hemmer.
Yeah, it was a fake dummy. Yeah.
Good Lord, yeah, man. It was like, all right, here's just like legs, and they're not connected to his torso.
No, I know. Right.
It was like watching a bad high school play.
It was like when
this guy.
The Hulk fought the guy in the bear suit, and he just threw it, and you see this bear go flying through the air. You go, that's not the same bear he fought a minute ago. But no, and then when they cut to her dropping, it was like Austin Powers when they would have like the dummy and the little mini-me was spinning around. You could tell it was like a dummy, and then they cut close-ups to him. So, yeah. Larry the Cable Guy is the transporter chief now.
And
I can't wait for her to go one-on-one with Spock, though. That'll be fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be beat.
What do you mean?
Remember they were stuck in the elevator together though?
Yeah.
They sang
the musical. Yeah,
Gilbert and Sullivan. I am the very model of a modern major general.
Maybe it doesn't count.
I watched another YouTube of and I will name check them because I think they do a very good job. Jesse Gender brought up the whole Spock being dyslexic thing. And again, the interpretation from them is that, that's okay. And, a lot of people on the spectrum are, kind of can be analytical and not, not be able to reconcile humor or things like that. I appreciate that point of view,
Excuse me.
but I do think it diminishes Spock for being the genius that he is. And I don't know. Again, I just think it's a new idea they came up with a couple years ago versus 50 plus years of no, this
Well, I
guy's
think
a genius.
I would have been okay with a storyline like that if it wasn't Spock and it was a different Vulcan, and they went through that story of him being dyslexic.
I agree. Yeah,
Franco's frozen.
yeah. Franco's coming in and out
He's
of
in
the
that. There's an ion storm.
But no,
in,
he got it.
New York.
Does the Weather Channel
Sorry.
in the future does it track ion storms and everything?
That was a hell of a
think so.
storm too. The cloud was above the planet in space. I was like, "How does that happen?"
For Talos 4, we want to warn you: the time warp has been broken. The time barrier has been broken.
I'm stuck in an ion storm. I apologize. Yeah.
It's all right. Your point. No, you made your point. We did hear you, and yeah, I whatever. I agree with you that if it was a different Vulcan, that would be interesting. I feel that way about Burnham. It's like, okay, make her raised by Vulcans. You really blew an opportunity for Sarek to talk to this kind of fictitious Vulcan to say, oh, I have a son who's half human, half Vulcan. You're raising a human woman to be Vulcan. And just the difference, and again, it's
or even if Sarek had a separate family altogether, but Spock had no idea. Yeah.
So I don't know. Stuart's right. Spock and Sheldon Cooper
are
truly merging into one being. Yeah, sure. I don't know, man.
They got his blood color right, though.
What?
They got his blood. What?
Oh, it was green.
Oh, his blood color. Yes. Yeah. Yes. You're right, Francis.
I like frozen Franco.
Frozen Franco at your stores today.
It's like, Mom,
you should end every sentence with that, Francis, so that way if you freeze, it works. Classic Franco. Absolutely. I don't know, man. Those kind of things drive me nuts. And not Franco freezing or Mitch playing freezing. But so those, I'm trying to think if there were any other little nitpicks.
Let's see.
Yeah, callback on the energy, them evolving or whatever from that light thing into energy beings. It reminded me of that great early Voyager episode. I think it was from the first series where Harry
Kim.
Harry Kim dies and he's in the afterlife of that, or he swaps places with the alien who did die and their dimension or whatever. And it's a great episode. I hope people know. I know. Yeah, it's okay. I see the blank looks on your face.
No, I watched
it reminded me
once and I never went back to it again.
I like Voyager. I always tell, because Rob is anti-Voyager, Mark Altman is anti-Voyager. I'm like, listen, and I think both are like revisiting it now. A third of it really had some really interesting ideas. Another third of it was warmed over TNG. And then the final third were lousy episodes, and they're plenty.
It was always. I thought there'd be more of a conflict between the Maquis and Starfleet, but they just kind of in one episode when it started, we're gonna get along well now.
They have to.
That was from the network.
I know. Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah, that's from the network.
Because I thought you'd have this constant mutiny about to start. Like, this is how we should get home. Listen to us. Fuck you. We're in charge. And I was like, this is gonna be good.
Right.
Like, what's the movie I'm thinking of with the two guys chained together?
The Defiant ones.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I'm like, I should do this. No, you listen to me. And I thought that would be great for the characters.
Crimson Tide.
Eventually work together. But they just blew it off and like, Chakotay's, I'm going to be back in Starfleet. And all my people will listen to you, Captain. I'm like, fuck you. They were just blown up. They were terrorists not long ago, and now suddenly they're all on the good ship Lollipop.
Well, and they might be like, "Hey, Janeway, we don't want to take our time."
But what network?
We want to get back now.
UPN told them. UPN said not to do that.
Well, or
I did not know that.
Whatever. Yeah,
that was that.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
you're right. Going to be. They didn't want to have conflict in space.
Yeah, because I think they were afraid. Well, if the story got more complicated, it would be harder for people to be able to dip in, know what the hell's going on. Listen, I agree with you, Mitch. It was a missed story opportunity to make it a distinct
development,
show.
Right?
Absolutely, and the same goes with Enterprise. I mean, again, they wanted Enterprise the first season to be on Earth and kind of explain the interplanetary politics. And the Paramount people are like, no, man, get him in space like now.
You know
And
what
so
was
they
always
push
a
back.
great what was a great trek is remember Riker switched first officers with the Klingon ship,
Yes,
and that
just
was
watch
great.
that one recently.
I love that
Imagine,
episode. Yeah.
imagine if they had a whole show where it was like enemy mine, like there was a Klingon ship that found a human,
Sure.
and the guy had to become one of them, like a Jungle Book story or something like that. He was living with a whole new species of aliens, and they took him on as one of their own, and they
Yeah,
turned
that's
him into a
Worf.
Klingon. Yeah, I know, but I'm talking about really going full out and make a whole Klingon show for multiple seasons, not just one
Dude,
episode.
well, what I would honestly, and I was going to bring it up anyway. I had a fantastic conversation with Jonathan Frakes on last Thursday, and we brought up Thomas Riker.
Yeah,
And it suddenly occurred to me while I was talking, I'm like, it would be great to make a 2-hour movie of Will Riker seeing Thomas Riker in that Picard era now.
yeah.
And what happened to Thomas Riker and how long was he in jail? Was he freed when Cardassia was liberated? But did he cause on off-screen Maquis crimes that
Yeah.
were so heinous? No, you cost Cardassian lives. You have to stay in there even longer. But really, and I said he could be the Birdman of Cardassia.
Right.
But I'm like,
Did
it
they
would be
ever
cool
wrap
to
that up in any books?
no, that's because that's
No?
why I'm like, I was talking to Frakes about it, and he goes, "Hey, all I know is after that one DS9 episode,
Yeah.
he's still in prison."
In
And
jail,
we were
yeah.
both laughing about it. And I'm like, "Hey, wait a minute. You know
What
what would
happened?
make a good
What
thing?"
happened to
And
Ro
that said,
Laren?
that's a very good question too. In the
They
books,
never
they covered it.
really.
In the
Oh,
books,
okay.
they covered it. No, she came back to Starfleet, was forgiven, and eventually she worked on DS9 after Cisco went in with the Prophets. And at
Mhm.
first, Kira was in charge of Deep Space Nine. Eventually, Kira became a Vedic and
Mhm.
became a woman of the cloth, so she had to leave. And Ro succeeded her in the novels
Oh,
as the commander
that's
of
cool.
DS9. Yeah, and also she had a thing for Quark, and they kind of had a romance
Ro
going on.
Laren?
Yes, it's really. I'm telling you, the
Wow.
books are great. Man, if you miss any old incarnation of Star Trek, the Star Trek novels are your friend. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how much enjoyment I've gotten out of most of them. So, but I was going to say, Mitch, in terms of your point, that'd make a great 2-hour movie, the Klingon thing that you're proposing. And
I
truly,
thought they were going to do a Klingon show years ago. I remember
I did
hearing
too.
something.
I did
Yeah.
too. But what you could do is literally, especially now, rather than give us another 10-episode series,
Mm.
make a bunch of mini movies,
Yeah.
and you've got all these great Star Trek veteran actors that would love to come back and be
Oh,
the
yeah.
star of their own show. All of them, by all means, good Lord. And again, think of the story possibilities. Where's Esri now? Where's Bashir now? What's happening with Kira? You can put her on Bajor, give a bunch of people ridges, and have a nice little Bajoran religious story happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, please go back to that, because what I'm seeing from Strange New Worlds, the inkling I'm getting is they don't have a lot of original ideas.
No.
They really are. They seem so focused on, well, in the movies, Khan was a big deal. Let's make sure we still talk about Khan
Yeah.
and have Khan. Oh, the Borg are a big deal. Well, you're beating these horses to death, and I would ask, please, either come up with some new interesting stuff, or if you want to lean into the past, again, you got a roster of great actors that would love a 2-hour movie.
At one point I heard there was going to be a Star Trek anthology show where every week or every episode would be a new. Here's a story about Captain Sulu. Here's a story about what happened to Ensign Ro. And they would just go through the whole cast of all these different shows and do just one-off episodes because the true fans would watch it because, we know all the storyline. Or you could have done a big story arc that went through all these different decades and generations of Star Trek characters. Like, it starts off in Enterprise and you show the characters like Toshi or Hoshi and all that, and here's a little start, and then you can even fast forward into the future, and you could have done a big epic, like a comic book, like a maxi series, where you got all these different elements and do one giant fucking Star Trek movie, but on TV.
I have a nitpicky thing from this episode.
Please.
So when those electric light orchestra beings were swirling around and they broke into the library to cover them?
Yeah.
Why didn't they just hover outside the window? and protect them from that way instead of having to break in to protect them.
Because it looked better on the camera when they just worked around them.
How did Uhura avoid the light thing just because she had the shade down? Because and
light.
also, I guess the energy, it doesn't matter if you see it or not, because I would think, if anything, wouldn't Hemmer being blind be immune
Not
to it?
see
And
it.
I
Right.
just, again, I don't.
Oh, that's really cool.
Well, but that's and forgive me, Mitch. Honestly, like, to me, that's like so obvious, and it's like,
No, it's
how come
not.
there's not? All right, because I was like, how come somebody in the writers room like, well, this is a great opportunity for Hemmer being blind, to actually do something,
that
as
would have been
opposed to
cool.
And again, the Mbenga thing with the transporter and everything, what I don't like is, like you said, Mitch, everyone is lying and just less of being capable and competent at their job with these personal tragedies.
Well, they're not good Starfleet officers. They're all kind of like shady.
Yes.
It's like, what
Yes.
the fuck, man? The captain's got something going on. Number one's outlaw. The doctor's doing some of his own shit in the thing. Everyone's got their own little, like, oh, we're not perfect. Okay.
Stuart Greenberg wants a show on Janeway and Tom's salamander babies when they went to Warp 10 in Voyager.
Oh, that's
and
right.
They devolved into salamanders. And I agree with Langley. Everybody wants to see the reunion story for DS9 that came up with in that DS9 documentary. Did you guys? That proposed
That's
season 8.
Show. Yeah.
Oh God, and truly, I like, people have asked Ira Bear, like, hey man, like, make it into a comic book. Good Lord, that's too good of a story. And he's like, nope. And it's like, well, whatever. I mean, I would say never say never. B, that's an interesting question. I would assume, because it was made specifically for that documentary, that it might be more in the hands of the documentary's producers to say,
like a rights issue.
Yeah, in terms of could they do it. But I mean, good Lord, that's that. And I mean, God, I guess off screen you can still have poor Nog pass away, because that was even part of the story and everything. Was he was coming back with information and his ship exploded.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's a
you
it's
could
a shame.
even tie in Prodigy. Imagine that, just one giant story arc that ties all of it together for something.
Well, supposedly, and again, you don't know if it's really in development or it's a trial balloon or whatever. I remember reading an article last year that they were proposing a crossover miniseries that would have people from every era.
Oh, really?
Get together to solve a problem. Sure,
that'd be cool. It's
a
stunt, but whatever.
There you go.
Kind of like the Avengers, like, get all the people in all the different movies together in one big epic.
Sure. Yeah. I again, in general, very entertaining.
Yeah.
But these little things, I'm like, okay, and truly the eugenics thing, like I said, I think there's potential to have a very interesting debate. Just, try to show both sides.
Since it's called Strange New Worlds, and you think every week that's going to be the premise, they're going to have a new planet with a new story. Do you think we're going to get any, like the old show had the Romulan War, the Klingons showing up? Are we going to get like space bad guys to show up more and more, or are we just going to stick to this?
I know the tease. I know the subject of this week's episode is the Gorn.
Oh,
and
really?
we're gonna get into that.
Shouldn't do that.
That's interesting. Langley thinks that Wesley, being a traveler, is a reveal that they are setting up that crossover. They could. I mean, again, that Khan thing, which is a different idea. Yeah, maybe again, I kind of agree with the podcast. It's like, they're planting seeds. They're definitely planting seeds.
Oh, so, wouldn't that be something if they knew that Khan had to go into hibernation because they need him in the future to do something?
Well, that doesn't make sense because
we got to write a story about it. But I'm just saying that somehow that Khan becomes the hero.
I don't
in
want
the mirror world. He's the hero. I don't want that.
Well, maybe in the mirror. Yeah, that's like they're trying too hard. If they come up with a good Montalban Khan or whatever modern actor they want to make Khan. And also, I really do worry that they're like, well, a lot of people saw the movie, and maybe more people saw the movie than saw Space Seed. So therefore, we should really lean into that Khan story more than.
Yeah, Mitch, that was pretty bad. Join us next week when it'll be Johnny, myself, and someone else.
Come on.
I don't. Now I'm almost like feeling like it's required that you send us your story pitch that you sent to Next Generation back in the day,
Oh, mine
and
was
we can
really cool.
scrutinize that and wave our fingers at. Well, here's where you're wrong.
No, it was a self-contained bottle episode, and what had happened, it was they got a new crew member, a red shirt, and on his first away mission, he got killed, just like we always joke about, in a red shirt, and Riker, you know how they always had to write a letter home, like when the
Sure.
soldier dies, like
Yeah.
like they did on MASH too.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Riker asked Captain Picard if he could do it because this was like a gung ho, like, oh, sir, I can't wait to do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And as soon as they beamed down, he got eaten by whatever monster. And Picard's like, no, it's up to me to do it. Number one. He's like, no. And it was a whole story about Riker going around trying to find out about this guy who really didn't do anything because he wasn't on the ship long enough to make an impact. But his whole life was about becoming a Starfleet guy. And then his first away mission, he's
Well, you just find out everybody on the crew didn't know anything about him because he wore a red shirt and they all ignored him.
Stayed away from him. Exactly.
Yeah, and that was the
I'm
whole
not talking to that guy.
episode. No, and the whole episode was about that, and then it was like, at the very end,
Well,
it was
but a
you
question.
gave your life to everything, but whatever.
Was there, because the red shirt thing really goes back to the original series. By the time of the Next Generation, if you wore a red shirt, you were on the command track.
Yeah.
So who were the, like, didn't the gold shirts kind of become the red shirts?
They kind of
metaphorically?
did. Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think, or even blue shirts, because I'm trying to think of victims from the Next Gen era or DS9 or Voyager or whatever.
Yeah, they were usually the yellow shirts. They were the security officers usually getting blown away and stuff. But no, the whole idea I had for my thing, they said, you know who read it? Was Charno. Her name is Sarah Charno. And she was the one that wrote the episode The Tin Drum, which was like my favorite. The Captain Maxwell. Go on that ship. Those are Cardassians.
I
They're
love that episode.
War.
Sure.
And I wrote to her, and she's the one that reviewed it and gave me tips and stuff like that. And she was a secretary on the staff, and she wrote that show, and she brought it up to Berman or whoever, and they said, this is good. And then she got a writing credit, and then she went to go work for Chris Carter on the X-Files. So
nice.
No,
Todd.
Todd
wants to know if the red shirt was dyslexic. Thank you.
No.
If Mitch were writing New Trek today, he would be.
Dyslexic. Yeah, back in 1990. Yeah, 1990 when I wrote it. No.
Yeah, I honestly, man, it's so, again, back to that Vulcan's Glory backstory of Una's that DC Fontana wrote. It really is kind of a slap in the face that they don't acknowledge that. And there are a lot. Rob always says, I never read the book, but second season of Discovery, the AI that went bad was controlling everything. There's a Section 31 book that David Mack wrote about an AI called Control. It's a Section 31 story. So I don't know.
Remember
I look forward to finding out what Hemmer's trauma is, and I suggest that we all play trauma bingo. And it's like, hey, who had incurable disease by a dead father? Me. Okay.
Yeah, if it's a drinking game, we're all drunk by the first commercial break.
Well, you should. Anytime someone gives their trauma, drink. And man, last week you could have pounded like 3 or 4 times.
So the only trope they haven't done yet
for trauma
is the birth of a new alien species, like a baby one that, like, remember there was one
trope.
Yeah, one that attached itself to the Enterprise. Wasn't that one of them?
Oh,
it was like a baby whale thing.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, that was the Scotty episode.
Well, they talked about it in the Scotty episode, but no, it was the Leah Brahm.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It was either real Leah Brahm or hologram Leah Brahm. I don't remember, or holograph Leah Brahm. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I think it was real Leah Brahm.
We need an episode about a big alien baby.
Brahms.
That's not happened yet. They haven't done that.
I don't mind the tropes. No. And please, I'm saying traumas. I'm saying the personal traumas of everybody. My brother died, and therefore this happened. My parents died in a space shuttle accident. My kid needs to be in the buffer. I'm sorry. First of all, I love Bazinga. I do love, and that's why I'm bummed that they gave Bazinga this tragedy. It's like, now let's read Winnie the Pooh for 5 minutes and then back in the buffer.
I know. Imagine a girl like, hey, wait a minute, man.
This is a great story.
You know what? He's getting
get in the
older.
buffer.
That would have been a great line, and then he could have had a little tear down the eye. She's like, Daddy, why don't you look older? Because in her world, she's not
It's only
aging.
a
There's
few
no
minutes,
time.
exactly.
Yeah,
Few
but
seconds.
this might have been going on for 10 years, and suddenly it's like, where's mom?
That's
What's
what I'm
going
saying.
on? Why do you have gray hair now? I've only been
there's
gone for
Who are
10
all these
seconds.
people? Why am I on a ship?
exactly.
Yeah.
There's so many plot holes in that being the solution. It's like, get to the buffer.
No, but imagine
And the fact that
what?
he reads her the same book over and over
Yeah,
again. Get a different book.
Imagine, and then now, wouldn't that be great if you're babysitting and you didn't want to put the kids to bed? You just put them in a transporter buffer. It's like, oh, fuck this shit. I'm not reading to you. Bzz, and they're gone. And hey, mom, I'm late for school. Oh, okay. And you just press the button. There they're gone again. So that's cool. It's like you don't need parenting. You just put
Mario's
them
very
inside the
nice.
buffer.
He said my Frank's interview was awesome, and Langley has to catch it.
Did you ask about the pizza?
I did ask him about the pizza. He
all
said
right.
that was a Michael Chabon thing.
Oh, okay.
And no, I haven't put out a video of it because it's just audio, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've got a quick screen cap. Jonathan was like, hey, because we're tight now. I called him John throughout the entire interview, which he was so sweet to like not blink. I prefer Jonathan, but whatever. Because I just do that with everybody I know that's named John. They're whether it's Jonathan or whatever, Johnny. It's always John.
Even if they're not named John.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
As you know, John, absolutely. But I because it's only audio, I released it first because I also wanted to release it before we were going to talk today, and so it's on the audio of Word Balloon. But eventually, I will put out the video and have a screen cap of me and Frakes. But he was great. No, he was fantastic, and so many interesting stories. I got into him directing the Orville because his second episode is one of the best episodes of the second season. It was the one where Bortus's race, another little girl, is discovered, and then to save the little girl, they send her to this planet, and it's a colony of females of Bortus's race that have been living in secret forever.
Right. Yeah.
And it's and they have a big Phantom Menace debate about what should we do, and of course the Union, their version of the Federation, is like, hey, let these people live, and the Bortus race is like, we will deal with our own politics. We don't need the Union telling us what to do. By the way, we're the big weapon provider for all the Union's enemies. And if you want us to stay an ally, you'll let us take care of our business.
Down. Yeah.
Classic debate. What do you do? And it's so good. And good Lord, Victor Garba and Ted Danson are admirals in it. And Ron Canada, he was the Klingon defense attorney that Franco, that defended Worf when the Klingons tried to accuse Worf of killing a ship of Klingons. 4th or 5th season of Deep Space Nine. So great character actor. You'd recognize him if you saw him. Right. Yeah. But anyway, all three of them are admirals, and they're discussing with Seth MacFarlane. It's a great episode, and that's the one too. If an easier memory thing, the woman that's in charge of the colony hears Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, and she's like, "This is an incredible anthem." And she, in the Phantom Menace scene, she quotes from the song. I swear, sometimes that man is out to get me.
Did he comment about any? I know he's a company guy, and he's not going to say it, but did he say he leans towards the older shows than the newer ones? Or
no, actually, no. And hey, man, honestly, I always say this when I have a guest on Word Balloon. The operative word is guest. It's like, I don't invite people to sit down with you and go, you know why you suck. And shame on me.
No, not to blindside.
No, but let me tell you what I did talk about and how I approached it. I talked to him about directing always from a positive standpoint, but he did say two things. He did say, I don't understand. Where he goes, I'm really surprised at how excited people are about Strange New Worlds. And I did say, well, we kind of like episodic. And I go, you've seen the mixed reviews, I'm sure, of what Discovery and these other shows have done. And why not go back? And I said, and also kind of sharing. And again, I just gave my opinion, just said, kind of sharing the responsibility and solutions each week. I mean, it is a crew. It's teamwork. And he just accepted it. I couldn't see what his facial reaction was to that comment. I heard him laugh when I said Birdman of Cardassia. But the other thing was, I did ask him, I go, God, you directed the best Next Generation movie, First Contact. I go, you also directed Insurrection. What do you think happened with that production? I go, was that a tough, I put it metaphorically, was that a tough horse to ride? And I asked about, because Michael Piller wrote a book, a very extensive book about the insurrection shoot. I haven't been able to read it yet because it's really textbook big. And he spun it to Michael Piller is great. He gave so many young writers the opportunity to come through Star Trek, become
Yeah.
part of the staff. A lot of them are showrunners today. And I'm like, okay, I got the code. That means I'm going to spin it
Don't
this way.
talk
And I'd
about
rather,
it. Yeah.
I'd rather talk about something positive. And I was fine with that. Because again, I don't want to, I also don't want to make the mistake of, hey, I don't realize it right now, but I'm probably offending you with this question.
Right,
Maybe I
right.
did.
But but even though you didn't read the book, what's the gist of it though? What was Pillar's point that who fucked it up?
I haven't gotten to that part of the book yet, so I
You
don't know.
know. All right.
But I would say that I think Insurrection would have made a great hour-long episode.
Right.
But upon reflection, I mean, I came out of that very frustrated by Insurrection in terms of
Pillar passed away, didn't he? Didn't he die?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did. I keep wanting to watch his UPN show that he did after Star Trek. It was called Legend with Richard Dean Anderson. It was kind of a P.T. Barnum as adventurer sort of 19th century story. Yeah, kind of a steampunk adventure story. Only lasted a season, but yeah, it sounded interesting. Another show that only lasted a season, and I guess from an aesthetic standpoint, really looks like bad special effects and bad 80s animation. That Captain Power show from the late 80s. It only lasted a season, and it had a Mattel toy tie-in, and it was back when they had those interactive games where you had a ray gun and you could shoot at your TV screen and it would actually do something on the gun.
He was involved with that?
He was the showrunner of that. And
wow.
I was watching a fantastic look at Babylon 5, and they were doing what Straczynski was doing leading up to Babylon 5. And yeah, that was the thing. And apparently the show, from a story standpoint, at least this is what the critics said, was much more adult than it being a kid's show. But it was also selling toys, and this was like in the sweet spot of all those parent groups being angry at TV shows that were just selling cereal or toys,
like G.I. Joe and He-Man.
Yeah. So, that's awesome. Wayne says, "Bugger off." John, Captain Power and the Soldier of the Future were great. Wayne, I believe you, and that's great to hear. And Langley says Legend was awesome. And yes, Langley, you are right. John Delancey was in Legend. Absolutely.
Oh, all right. Who did Briscoe County? Was that him or Berman? Was that?
I don't remember who the producer was.
I thought it was a Star Trek connection. Yeah, but I thought there was a Star Trek connection to it.
I'm sure somebody in the
Briscoe County.
I remember that was a good show. It only lasted.
Like 12 episodes or something. Yeah.
And it was probably like Fox, and because it was Fox, it probably interfered. I was going to say maybe it interfered too with their baseball schedule, but maybe not.
It was always on weird time. Yeah, it would be like on Thursday and then Friday. They didn't know when the hell to put it on Saturday.
Yeah, when we know Bruce Campbell was in it, but
the Firefly Syndrome
was in it. Yeah,
we want to know who produced it. That's what we want.
That's right. Remember when they started? They only had 2 nights. They had Sunday and Thursday. They had like Simpsons and then X-Files, and then they started doing a couple days, and then now they're Fox. They're on all the time now.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
When it first started, it was like, we don't know what.
When it first started, they had that werewolf show, and that was it.
Yes.
Oh, the one with Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors, absolutely. Yeah.
That's not on DVD because they have rights issues with the fucking music or something.
Oh, that's too bad.
People keep going, when is that ever coming out? They said it's not going to come out.
There we go. Well, all right. Langley believes that Carlton Cuse of Lost fame did Briscoe County.
I thought it was Berman or somebody.
I'm sure. Wikipedia, kids, look it up.
Yeah. I'm trying to. No, I don't care that
much.
No,
that's all right.
But
no, it's you're right. And that's a great show, man.
There was another one. Remember Brothers from Another Planet? That was on UPN with Voyager, and Scotty was on it for a while.
I believe that was Homeboys from Outer Space.
Brothers
from Another Planet.
No, that's another movie. That
is another movie.
That's the one which John Sayles made it. Brother from Another Planet was in the 80s. John Sayles made it. I can't think of the actor.
All right.
Who was in it?
But yeah, Homeboys from Outer Space was their parody, and yeah, Scotty was on that. Yeah,
Scotty was on that. Yeah.
Yep. UPN. What I like, there's a almost Twilight Zone-y show that took place in Vegas that was an anthology show, and I can't remember which hip hop guy was the host of it, but before he passed away, Gilbert Gottfried and Jackie Martling were reminiscing on Gilbert's
Really?
podcast how there was like one story and they both were the stars of that
Oh,
segment.
the
Yeah.
Joke Man was on TV. Wow, Jack and
Yeah.
the Joke Man.
Yeah.
Huh.
No, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Gilbert too was pretty funny.
I did read an interesting article about the opening credits of the new Star Trek show. Did you know those are all real photographs from the Hubble telescope that they've integrated?
Oh, that's cool.
I did
yeah,
not
That's
know
cool.
that.
yeah. There's that nebula that it flies through. That's a real Crab
Wow.
nebula, and all the stuff that you see on the opening credits are actual Hubble
That's really
telescope
cool.
photos that
Wow.
they put in there. So.
I'm gonna have
That's
to pay
very
more
cool.
attention to it now.
No, I know. I was like, I thought they made that up. It's like, fuck, space is really cool looking, man.
I think every show, when it comes to opening credits, I think they're truly every new Trek show, and that includes Picard. They're all great. They're all excellent, very interesting. And yeah, Langley agrees. He loves the Strange New Worlds opening. Yeah, you know, again, this is why I love Burnett. He cracks me up, and I truly I love his point of view, whether I agree with it or not. He was really miffed that Pike does the Space Final Frontier speech.
I said the same thing. It takes away from Kirk.
Yeah, because he's like, in his mind, in his head canon, that's Kirk's first log entry as captain. And that's what we're hearing is those words. And that Picard did it in honor of Kirk when he started his first log entry. I'm okay with it. Because again, it's so iconic and it's so like
I read it more as the mantra of the Federation,
Starfleet.
basically.
Yeah, Starfleet.
Oh, they're all
Absolutely.
doing the same?
Well, or if
Starfleet,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like their pledge of allegiance, basically.
Yeah.
This is who we are. This
Our
is what
mission
we're
statement.
about.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The mission statement of Starfleet. Yes.
Yep.
Because truly there is, again, and then these are the voyages of the Starship Exeter or like Lexington or Concorde, whatever you want to do. Absolutely. Or the Jimmy Jam. Where's the USS Jimmy Jam? That's what I want to know.
They would shorten it to Jim Jam.
Wayne says you need a dance sequence opener like Peacemaker. Absolutely.
I
that would
love
be
that
cool.
opener of Peacemaker. Every
That's the best part.
episode, I would not let my family skip through it.
Forward. Yeah.
I watched the series with Chucky, and Chucky
And also just way off of Trek because I'm a big cartoon fan. Last night I watched the Chippendale movie on Disney Plus. It was great.
Really?
It was like I was expecting something not as good.
Yeah.
There are so many Easter eggs in there. Like every scene, you're like looking around. What am I finding? What am I finding? And it was a pretty decent story and surprising the way they used some of the characters the way they did and what they did. I was like, this is cool.
All right. I'll watch that. I saw
Langley agrees.
half CGI, half animated. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically, like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and
right.
But you
Spoiler.
watch it. It's it's no spoiler whatsoever. It's like the same concept as Roger Rabbit is what I'm saying.
You know what? I was almost going to watch Strange New Worlds again. Twice. Yeah. That doesn't happen anymore. I was like, there was nothing on. I was going to watch the Chippendale thing, and I go, maybe I'll watch Star Trek again and see if I missed anything. I go, I never thought I'd say those words after the last 5 years of this. Like, oh no, once is enough. I'm not watching that again.
Yesterday for me was Strange New Worlds, and then I went upstairs. I'm like, hey, let's watch this because I was going to watch the Sandra Bullock movie, but I didn't have.
Oh, it's not that good.
It's on Paramount Plus, I believe, and I don't have that in on the TV upstairs. I was too lazy to download the app up there.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Chippendale, so I threw that on, and it was really good. You guys should watch it.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like Romance in the Stone. You remember that old movie with Michael Douglas? But it's not. It becomes more of a, I don't know. It's not that. We didn't even finish it. That's how bad it was. We were going through it, and we're like, oh, fuck it. I don't give a shit.
Well, you saw the comment that Wayne just had. I mean, we really are about to have an avalanche.
Yeah, Kenobi starts this week.
Kenobi's this week. Orville is next week.
Yep.
The Boys is coming up.
Yeah.
Obviously, She-Hulk trailer as well.
No, Ms. Marvel starts.
That's right. And in between, you're right. Ms. Marvel is going to be.
She-Hulk's in August. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, there is a ton of stuff that's
plethora
dropping this summer. Yes, a plethora of nerd stuff that we're going to have to talk
and
about.
Top Gun's coming out. I've got my tickets for Saturday.
Thanks for inviting me, man. Appreciate
Well,
it.
and you're right. You're right, Langley. Thor
welcome
4,
to
but I'm
come.
talking about TV. I'm
Sharon
just talking
and I
about
are going.
everything that's on TV and everything.
We
So,
could go see it tomorrow night, Franco. They got a sneak preview.
I'm
of which
busy.
one?
Oh, excuse me.
Of Thor?
No, of Top Gun.
Oh, Maverick.
Did you see the trailer for Mission Impossible 7 or something? They dropped that today. And
No.
Peggy Carter's in it. And
I love her.
Palm Clementif is in it from
I love her.
Guardians
Sure.
of the Galaxy.
She's whatchamacallit.
It's a two-parter, right?
She's Mantis. Yeah, it's part 1, and then I don't know when part 2 comes out. But the thing of it is, it's funny to see because they filmed this 2 years ago before COVID or during COVID, and this Top Gun movie was from 2019 that they've been trying to get out. So when you see Tom Cruise at the premiere, it's like he's aged in like 3 years, and he's starting to look a little old.
Yeah, I was going to say he's looking
He's
older.
looking different. He's got wrinkles. He's almost 60 now, and I'm like, not that he looks better than we'll ever look, but
he looks amazing.
But he noticeably gotten older, and I was surprised because you see Tom Cruise is like perfectly, not aged, but he's suddenly getting old. Anyway,
Wayne wants to know, Mitch, are we going to get a Mitch? I'm assuming that's Jerry Ordway movie review and driving.
No, I'm not going to see. I'll go. My wife and I are going, so that'd be an interesting because she's like, "Don't talk to me." Oh, I got to tell you, my son hosted a convention in Miami over a week ago, and you know who the guest was? It was the guy that was the longest U.S. astronaut, Mark Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
Am I got the right name?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
There was 2 of them. They were twins, and then when this one comes back, they test his DNA altered from being in space for a year or something. I was like, what the hell?
Isn't that Gabby Gifford's husband?
Yes.
Mark Kelly?
No, he's the senator, right? One of them's a senator. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, I think he ran post astronaut career.
Yeah, the woman that was shot, right? Wasn't that?
Yes.
Yeah, Gabby Giffords. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that's his wife. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I was telling my son, I go, did you bother him about like space questions and UFOs? He goes, no. I'm like, why not? He was there for over a year. He probably saw fucking flying saucers every other day.
Cool stuff.
Right?
Absolutely.
I saw stuff that the government just showed. Scott Kelly.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now.
He's the current. Yeah, he's the current Arizona senator, the Democratic Arizona senator.
520 days. Holy crap!
Should they let him be a senator? What if he was taken over by aliens or something?
On the news,
like that Shatner episode in The Outer Limits,
right? He was.
Did they scan him sufficiently?
I don't know, but if he was on the new Enterprise show, they would just look the other way. Hey, I'm illegal. I'm really an alien. I'm not the guy that went up there. That's all right. I'm going to be dead in 10 years. No one's going to say a word about it.
I know they made the announcements. Wayne is asking if you know the new comic books coming out from Frank Miller.
Well,
I think there's 4 of them. Yeah.
Well, Wayne, you'll be able to ask Dan DiDio himself at Terrificon because he will be there as one of our guests, and he's doing 2 panels, and one of them is all about the new Frank Miller. Is it Frank Miller Presents, I believe?
I think
that's the name of the comic book line, and you could ask Mr. DiDio all about it.
He's my old boss,
I know, and he's looking for you. He says you owe him $20.
It's true. I'm not paying him though.
And speaking of the Orville
of $20,
you're going to want to come to Terrificon because we have already announced Adrian Palicki and Peter Macon, who plays Bortus. But I have 3 more people coming, so we'll have 5 out of the 7.
Wow.
They're never been together. Yeah. One of them is Jay Lee and Jessica Soar and Scott Grimes. But anyway, you'll find out in a week or so.
Gee, I wonder who they are.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Dan did a panel MegaCon.
Yeah, I knew about. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Wayne. That has a lot to do with Star Trek.
Well, fine. There goes that panel. Then.
No, honestly, I had asked Dan when they made the announcement and stuff about that he was going to be the executive editor of it all. I'm like, hey, you got to come back on Warble. And he's like, oh, come on after MegaCon. We're doing all of our announcements at MegaCon. I'm like, all right, no problem. So there you go.
Do it right there.
I like it.
And Aftershock, a proud sponsor of the Word Balloon Network, will be at Terrificon. Joe Pruitt and Mr. Mark Hammond from All Your Comics.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Here, let's take a very short break right now and acknowledge our fine sponsors. We'll be right back.
Look at
How
that.
about that? And we're
I
back.
like that. Hey,
We're
everybody.
back.
How about that? Anita Ekberg. Next up, we got Brooke Shields will be here. And John.
Hey, Francis, let's be bookends.
Yeah.
No, you should do
Oh.
the opposite. So
Just look that way.
and Mitch, you can be the book
can
Mitch, so you can look up. Exactly.
Oh, we're like the
There we
Brady
go.
Bunch now.
Very nice. Exactly.
All you need is Ann B. Davis to show
I was gonna
up.
say you're in the NB Davis Square.
Can you get her to
Andy
show up?
Davis
Can you get her at
as
MegaCon?
I'm
That's terrific.
pick what show.
She's
What
dead.
show? I
Where
think
is
she's
she dead?
dead. All I need is a
That's right. You can still get her.
a back on a court order, and I'll have her at the show.
Oh, Mrs. Brady.
Oh.
Hey, yeah, let's Sam the Butcher.
Sam the
Do you
Butcher.
know we were
I'm
on the
making a meat delivery. Yeah, you are.
We were on the radio 2 weeks ago. I did top 10 moms for Mother's Day, and what a controversy I caused because we started arguing about what did Mrs. Brady do for a living, other than sit on the couch and read magazines and wait for the kids to
Yeah,
come
she
up
was a
there with a
housewife.
problem.
Yeah, she was a housewife.
No, they had Alice.
I know
was
they
doing
had
all the work.
Alice, but that's 6 kids. You need a maid plus
Yeah.
mom.
The dad was there.
Have you
What
ever
was
tried
her,
to take care
what
of
was her
one
job?
kid?
What was her job? Do you know that she had
Oh
a job?
no, I found out what her job was. You ready for
What-
this?
Yeah,
She was
please.
a political activist. That's a hobby.
That's on the 90s and the Brady's.
No. She was
BS.
she was a sculptor.
Yeah, that's a
Again,
hell of a job. Yeah, okay.
a hobby. And then she had a third one. She became a real estate agent. That was it.
Again, I bet that was during like Brady
Towards
Brides
the
and,
end.
and
Why don't
yeah,
you get
that
Florence
doesn't count.
Henderson for
What was
Terrificon?
she doing in the 70s when they were all children?
Nothing.
Nothing.
She literally was on the couch with Life
She was
magazine.
not in a
and they
house.
go,
Again,
Mom.
no, you always saw the two of them making lunch or laundry or something. No.
Camping.
She was an active house. She was an active mother.
Lusting after Davy Jones.
Yeah.
What?
That's
She spoke
awesome.
German? What
Well,
was that?
that's
There's
I
a
don't know. I always
German
yeah,
neighbor would come over.
That's from
Oh,
Deadman.
is here Brady home today?
Exactly. It's
You're looking very good.
It's when Carl Reiner's the bad guy in Dead Men Don't
Oh,
Wear Plaid, and
okay.
he's the
Oh,
Nazi.
yeah.
And because Steve Martin would go nuts anytime he heard the word cleaning woman. And Heine Mache Frau. What does that mean? That means cleaning woman. Cleaning woman.
No, I haven't seen Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid in 40 years.
It's a great movie.
Oh, apparently Star Trek the Motion Picture was playing in the theaters last night at one of those Fathom events.
Star Trek 2 because it's the 40th anniversary.
Oh, I saw
Unless-
somebody post.
Thanks for inviting me, Mitch.
Unless
I was coming back from Maryland.
It also, well, you're right. I mean, they did release the 4K motion picture as well, so that could be. But I do know they're also celebrating, and there's big celebrations all year for Star Trek 2.
Wrath of Khan. Yeah,
Yes,
no, but I
yes.
think that's in the fall because I want to go see that too.
Okay, because the Treksperts had the Q&A that happened in LA, and it was the guy who ran the publicity campaign, Eddie Egan, but also Walter Koenig was there. Walter Koenig is 85.
Is he
Holy shit.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, it's the most recent Inglorious Treksperts episode.
Is
and
he
truly,
the youngest one now?
Yeah, I think he is.
Ooh.
I mean, Nichelle might be younger, but poor Nichelle's
No. I think Sulu's 90 now, isn't he? Isn't he 89?
Could be.
Everyone got old.
Yeah, actually, Langley confirms that. Yeah, both motion picture and con are being shown this year in theater, or in theaters and stuff. So yeah, cool. And I know Frakes is coming. I think for Fan Expo.
He's going
Chicago.
to Boston. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry he's not doing Terrificon, Mitch.
No, I
Terrificon,
tried.
once again, the dates for Terrificon.
That would be July 29th to July 31st at the Mohegan Sun Expo Center in Uncasville, Connecticut. Tickets are on sale right now. There's more guests coming that I'm announcing this week. Every day. Ron Garney's coming because you know why? He called me up and said, "What the? Why did you put my name up?" Yeah, I go, "I didn't know you were coming, Ron."
Awesome. That's great. Very excited.
Don't mess with Ron Garney.
Big fan. Great
Turn your
Captain
lights
America
out.
artist.
He
Absolutely.
is.
Among other
He's got
things.
Berserker now. That's his new thing with Keanu Reeves.
Very nice. So Langley's impressed. Guess a poppin', he says.
Guess a poppin'.
There we go. So, all right. I guess it's time to put us in the pattern buffer until next week. and we'll stay fresh until then.
Could
But,
you lose weight in the
Wayne.
pattern buffer?
I'll call you Wayne.
Think about it. Wouldn't that be a great weight loss thing? Like you go in there and you say, "Could you just shave off about 10 pounds?" And when they beam you back, they make you a little
Yeah, they
less.
just beam back less of you.
Yeah, right. I think that would be a great weight loss.
It'd be more
If that were
genetic
true,
modification.
yeah, Scotty wouldn't have been as big as he was on those last movies and stuff.
Well, maybe he had allergic reaction to
I
it.
think some of Franklin actually got absorbed in me. I'm suddenly 50 pounds heavier. I know you're in there, Franklin.
Little,
While you're in the
take your-
buffer, say
take
hi
your
to my
shirt off.
daughter.
little
She's still-
nipples in there.
I forgot her in the buffer 70
Remember
years ago.
Remember Dr. McCoy had a daughter, Joanna?
Yeah, of course I do. Off
What
screen.
happened to that? Never mentioned that character.
Pattern buffer.
Honestly, they said that they were going to introduce Joanna in season 4, but season 4 didn't happen.
Oh, no shit.
It was in the Bible that McCoy was divorced and had an adult daughter.
Yeah.
And supposedly, Roddenberry, that was one of the ideas that we were talking about that we didn't have time to.
Wow. Your Roddenberry sounds a lot like Ronald Reagan.
It's Darren Dockerman is my guru of how to imitate Gene Roddenberry. Darren Dockerman, who was very instrumental in the restoration of the motion picture, worked on the director's cut in that original DVD release 20 years ago, and also this new thing, which, by the way, is fantastic. And people should, if they haven't seen the motion picture in a long time, they really did a great job with the effects. I'm sure it's impressive as hell on a giant screen. Of course, we got giant TVs.
Can I ask you
or
a
you
question?
can go back in time and just watch our feed on the YouTube channel.
Did Gene Kuhn, who replaced Gene Roddenberry as the executive producer,
story editor,
editor, did he get a lot of crap? Because I read somewhere like years ago he would go to conventions and get booed off stage because people. I figure you would know. Like, did he go on any other? Did he go on any other shows after that?
Well, he died young. I mean,
he did.
I think he died in either the 70s or the 80s.
Oh, okay.
Well before Roddenberry, in fact.
I didn't know if he was like a powerhouse behind the scenes producer or something like that.
Well, apparently, for those who've done like the serious minutia exploration of the original series, a lot of them credit Kuhn for improving on scripts and making them better. I'm
thinking of the other guy, Fred Freiberger.
Oh, Fred Freiberger is vilified.
Yes,
vilified.
That's the one.
That's the season 3.
Yeah,
he was the and you know something, I understand. Listen, there's a lot of crappy episodes in season 3.
Yeah,
but I gotta say there are a lot of great episodes as well. The Romulan episode with the female Romulan commander.
The Enterprise incident.
Yeah, Enterprise
That's
Incident is a great episode. I think Mark of Gideon is a good episode.
Yeah.
And
is it the Omega thing, that one, the flag? The Omega?
It might be a third season. I'm not sure. I believe Is There No Truth in Beauty is the episode with Dinah Mulder and Pulaski before she was Pulaski, and Miranda Jones was her name. And that alien race that is now on Star Trek Prodigy, she's the spirit that inhabits that robot body, but she's I forget what they're called.
Oh, the light things that were in the box.
Yeah, if you need the visor to look at
Medusa people.
Medusa, that's right. Yeah. That's the Medusans. You're right. You got it. Attaboy. So, what else?
No, I just wondered about some of those Star Trek people, like Harv Bennett. Harv Bennett came from TV. He was like a Fantasy Island guy, wasn't he?
But also $6 Million Man and Bionic Woman.
That's where it was. $6 Million
and Incredible Hulk. Yeah. No, and he wasn't.
No, that's Kenneth Johnson.
That's Kenneth Johnson.
Who's still alive.
He was. Yeah. And he was also involved in the Bionic stuff. But no, Harv Bennett, absolutely. Well, the thing was, and it really wasn't Robert Wise's fault, but they, Star Trek went from being a movie to, wait a minute, let's do a TV series in phase 2 to no, let's do a movie. And they poured, like, from startups and shutdowns, like $44 million into that first movie. And it did make a profit, but a really small one because it was so expensive. And Harv Bennett's like, hey, I've been doing sci-fi on TV. I can do it for 25% of what you're paying for these movies. And that's what happened. And hey, I like all the, including Final Frontier, but all the Harv Bennett produced movies, I think, are excellent movies. I know some people don't like 3 because they're like, oh, it's so obvious that they're on a soundstage. Well, of course, who cares?
Great CGI.
Speaking of $6 Million Man, I learned something weird.
What's that?
Recently. When did Lee Majors and Farrah Fawcett break up? Wasn't it during $6 Million Man or
I
after?
believe so. Yeah.
No,
I
it
believe-
wasn't. It was after because he was on Fall Guy and she was in the pilot. She was supposed to be the Heather Thomas role. I just found that out. Yes, that's what I found out.
Really?
Yep, she was in the pilot and they had to reshoot it with they recast it with Heather Thomas. They went with somebody younger, but it was supposed to be Farrah Fawcett. And I thought they broke up during the $6 Million Man, but it happened to be afterwards, right at the beginning of Fall Guy.
Oh, then she went out with Ryan. What's his
Ryan
name?
Seacrest.
Ryan O'Neal.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, another Farrah
and she did guest on Fall Guy before splitting with Majors. So yeah, maybe it was in that pilot. Oh, that's amazing.
Another Farrah from television just passed away 2 weeks ago, who has a connection to another Terrificon guest.
Farrah Fork?
Yes, she was on a show called
Wings,
starring
Tim
Daly
and
who will be a Terrificon. Tim Daly will be a Terrificon, the voice of.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Is Susan coming this year?
Susan Eisenberg will be there, and Kevin Conroy. I have the Trinity from DC Comics: Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. All three.
That's true.
And if you want to count Green Lantern, even though that's not a Trinity, I have Phil Lamar.
Oh, Phil's coming too. That's
almost
great.
The whole Justice League.
Yay!
Yay.
Oh man,
I love Phil. He's awesome.
We got to do a table read.
We'll do something because Tim Daly is also there because he's from The Sopranos, along with the other guest, Joe Pantoliano.
Joey Pants, everybody.
Two Sopranos.
Guido, the killer pimp from Risky Business.
That's true. That's true. And he was also in that U.S. Marshals and The Fugitive.
He's in Daredevil.
I don't care.
He was Ben Urich.
Ben Urich in the what's
in
his
the
face?
Matrix too.
In the Affleck.
Ben Affleck. Yeah.
And of course,
speaking of Daredevil, I have the original Daredevil coming to the show. Rex Smith,
That's
aka
right.
Take My Breath Away. Absolutely.
That's right. Take My Breath is #1 hit. Pirates of Penzance too.
Penzance.
Penzance. It's going to be a smorgasbord of celebrities along with those comic book guys.
Oh man,
it's going to be crazy. And John will be there.
I will be there.
I'll be
doing some awesome
and
panels.
Franco will be there because I used his photo the other day and made a graphic.
Wow!
I gotta tweet that out there.
Yeah, the vest on. You looked all dapper and shit. Speaking of which, I met Jeff Kinney, the guy from Diary of a Wimpy Kid, this weekend.
There you go.
Wow!
He was the speaker at my son's commencement. I was like, oh, guys that write funny kids books become famous. Like, like
Todd Hatfield says, did something happen to Phil? Saw him the other day. He looked a little rough. Really?
Phil?
I'm assuming Lamar. I don't know. I haven't heard.
He's going to be presenting the Will Eisner Awards at San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh, that's great.
He's a posted that everywhere.
I gotta get him back to promote Terrificon.
Yeah, Phil's a great guy.
And a genuine one of us. Big comic book fan.
Oh my God!
Definitive John Stewart. Come on.
Yeah.
It's
That's right, John Stewart. I was thinking, I'm like, wait, the guy from the Daily Show? No, the John Stewart from the comic book.
And not Jimmy Stewart. No. I'm a Green Lantern. And Brightest Day and the power, the battery.
And just those pedals. Yeah.
Jimmy takes too long with the oath. The battery runs out of power. Hey, Guardians, it screwed up again.
Did you watch the other show with J.K. Simmons and Sissy Spacek? The space show. It's on Paramount Plus.
No,
it's a new series. Oh,
tell me.
I just started watching the first episode. I want to know if anybody else did. It's like a Twilight Zone.
Okay.
They go back and they have like this thing in their basement where they're old, but they can go through light years and they're living on another planet. I'm like,
that sounds
they're the only ones that know about it. They can open a portal and they sit there and they read their newspaper, but they're on a different planet, which is like thousands of light years away. And I'm like, what the fuck? So,
is it on Paramount or is it on Amazon? I think Langley said.
Oh, it's on Amazon. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem.
Is there any...
Night Sky.
Very
slow.
Very slow. Very slow.
I'm assuming interesting as opposed to intersection.
Well, Spacek and Simon
they cross paths.
They grow at it. There's a lot of sci-fi out there now. It's just you can't,
It's too much.
crazy.
Yeah.
I know. I go on
My,
Netflix and I'm like, I don't know what to watch.
My neighbor wanted me to get into that Amazon show, the weird supernatural western that I forget who's in
Oh,
it.
the Josh Brolin's in.
It is Josh Brolin. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's
Oh,
another one
A-Hole?
coming out.
It's called.
Trailer. It's called A-Hole. Yes, that's
No,
right, Francis. It's called
Jeff-
A-Hole.
Jeff
It's outer
Bridges.
something. Outer.
Oh, that's
outer.
Outer
yeah.
Hole.
Jeff
Outer.
Bridges.
It is
has
like
a-
outer hole or inner hole. Inner
no,
hole.
Bridges
That's
has
a
a
Joe
space,
Dante movie.
he
What?
has a show next week. Jeff Bridges has a new sci-fi
Oh, really? Wow.
miniseries. I'm like, I thought he was sick with cancer, but I guess he's doing okay.
I didn't know
He's
Jeff
good.
Bridges had cancer. Wow.
Yeah,
I love it. Man,
that was like
I,
a year ago. He came out and talked about how he was dealing with
I
it.
don't watch late night TV anymore. It's boring. Sucks. Sucks
Yeah.
really bad.
And
That's why I
Harrison
watch-
Ford's going to be on that new prequel to what's that Kevin Costner show?
The Yellow Brick Road.
Yellow
Yellowstone.
Brick Road. Yeah,
Yeah, Yellow Rose of
Yellowstone,
Yellowstone.
which
That's it.
I've never watched. But
Harrison Ford's going to be on Yellowstone.
he's going to be
a
on the
prequel movie or
prequel.
something.
It takes place in the
Oh.
30s during Prohibition in Chicago.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
with
That's cool. 'Cause, yeah, I
Helen
like the-
Mirren, who played his wife in The Mosquito Coast. So it's like
Wow, think
they're
about
back
that.
together.
Jesus,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
but
She's
I've never
great.
watched Yellowstone. I
Oh,
hear
you
it's
know, I
very
thought
good.
it was funny. It's on HBO Max. There's a Catwoman animated movie,
Oh,
and Frakes plays King Faraday,
Oh, wow.
the
Um,
DC secret agent.
oh, I thought for Mr. Rogers, but that's another story.
No. Lady Elaine.
Lady Lane.
Uh,
Woo, I've got the bat. Woo.
Nice. I used to
Hated
do
those
porn.
puppets.
I used to do the porn
You do
version of those
porn?
puppets. Like, well, it's like, Lady Elaine, I'm coming to get you. It's,
God.
you need
Somewhere-
that third finger to do the crank.
Mr.
So, yes,
Rogers
Catwoman-
is spinning his
Cat-
grave right now.
Catwoman Hunted. That's what the name of the movie is. Yes. But
I
yeah,
do
Frank's is
know.
like, I did? And I'm like, yeah, what? He's like, oh, I did that years ago. And I'm like, well, he just released it, man. So,
You know what's very good? The DC House of Secrets with the John Constantine. They just did like a bunch of miniseries or little
yeah, short.
anthologies.
Yeah.
Short.
Yeah.
Yeah. DC's good at that shit. DC
Oh, good
animated.
Lord. The showcases.
Speaking
they
of
did years ago
anthologies,
were
we should
incredible.
pick up Dead Man Tells the Spooky Tales coming out in September.
Who wrote that?
It's true.
By the way, did you watch the tribute to George Perez at MegaCon? The last
No,
night?
No,
I,
I saw it was on, but
I wish I'd known it was streaming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
I missed
live
it.
streamed it. We put it on our Terrificon page, even though it's another show.
I'll check it out.
We all
I'll
love
check it out.
George. Yeah, it was nice.
Sure.
They all came out and talked about him.
I was busy with Bill Cox's online convention this weekend, and I interviewed Kelly Jones, Paul Kupperberg,
Oh,
and Mike Gold.
how's Kelly
Yeah.
Jones?
He's doing great. He's doing great.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart. I love
Love
that guy.
that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll man, I mean, really, when if you want me to interface between you and him he said summertime is tough
Yeah.
because invariably, and he's right, invariably they want him to do books that come out in October because of his horror
Yeah.
connection.
Yeah.
And he's like, so I'm always busy in the summer. And I'm like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
And he's got some
Because
cool stuff coming up.
He does. I think he's going to Heroes Con because I know he only does about 1 or 2 shows a year, and I know
Yeah.
he does Heroes Con, which is like next month, I think.
Yeah,
Hero?
Father's Day.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Oh, Father's
sure.
Day weekend. Oh,
There
Usually.
you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a
He,
big show this weekend, isn't there?
probably. I mean, it's warm out now.
Oh
man,
no,
so,
Star Wars Celebrations this weekend.
there you go. What city is it in?
I think it's in Anaheim because they got Ewan McGregor there because Obi-Wan is
Sure.
on Friday, so
Sure.
they got a big Star Wars thing. I wonder if they're going to announce any new movies because they
Yes.
really don't,
They probably will.
And
they
did
don't
I-
have anything going on really.
I know I did it on the Yeah podcast. Here's my brief imitation of Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan. Run, Luke, run.
That's it. I
It's
thought I was
like
there
that-
with them.
Right
I
on.
thought
Run,
I was
run.
watching Alec Guinness. Yeah,
And pretty scary, isn't it? Exactly.
It is.
Thought I was watching Bridge Over the River Kwai for a second.
Madness.
General
Madness.
Saito. We'll build your damn bridge, General Saito.
That's a great movie.
I love that movie.
movie.
It's an outstanding, and also how it ends. It's like back
Sure.
then, yeah, movies had balls back then, man. There you go.
They
What is
did.
What,
It's
what
the
is
Star,
the book?
when you said Obi-Wan Kenobi, it's the Star Wars Archives.
Ooh.
It's a book all about Star Wars.
Mark Altman, who wrote the 50-Year Mission, the 2-volume look at Star Trek,
Yeah.
also did. I forget what it was called. I think it was called "May the Force Be with You," but it's an oral history of all the Star Wars stuff, and it's quite extensive.
Really?
So there you go.
All right. Red Room.
Bye,
All
Wow, I don't know if this is true, but Wayne says he heard that Dark Horse is not going to San Diego.
It's possible.
Interesting.
Didn't they just get sold to a French
I don't
company?
know. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I don't know the full details, but I do know positive stories about Dark Horse. Maybe they're just saving some money.
And Mark Waid is no longer with Humanoids. Is that something I read too?
I'm
asking you. I don't know if it's true. I'm asking you. I saw
that's the first. It's the first time hearing of it, but I don't really go to the Beat or Bleeding Cool every day to get the latest.
I see these headlines come up, and I'm like, I'll ask Suntress. He knows everything that's going
No,
on.
it's not necessarily. Ask Brother Bear.
Okay.
Honestly, he probably knows. He probably reads that stuff every day.
He does. Yeah.
There you go. All right. We can wrap.
Bye.
Yeah. Thanks everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, good Lord. Yeah. Exactly. It's 20
it
minutes
is.
to 10 on the East Coast. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Take care. Live long and prosper, and let's see what they fuck with as far as continuity next week. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.